Hey, JG fans, Nobunaga's Ambition fans, Call to Arms people, people who don't like MS, particularly in Canada. This is the last video I'm planning to post before I start the next Let's Play, and yeah, I don't know. I don't have, I know it was a really long time after the 2023 charity stream that I didn't get this series going. I don't know how many people are around and trailed off. I also know that maybe we're doing things a little differently. I've got a list of people who are entitled to a character. Surf might know different. Like, I think we're a little more confused in 23 than we are in 24 about who was actually specifically donated to get a JG character. I think I just had a list of people who donated enough that they could get a JG character, and some of the names are people who were not probably ever going to donate, or who are never going to submit a character. But what I'm getting at is I've made all these created characters, but there's a couple where I made them based on, hey, this person submitted a character in the past, and they donated enough to get a character this time, and other people selected them as people they wanted their created character to be friends with. So there's a few people who never... It's been years since, like Lethal has a character named Haru Toriyama. He doesn't usually go in and do a in-depth thing. Grimith in the past has gotten really in-depth. At other times he's just like, you can include me if you want to, I don't care. And like the various, my in-laws. Zerfall's in-laws. These are people that I created characters for. But broadly speaking, I'm going to run through real quick the characters I have. But before I do that, I'm going to name the folks who I can't find. Alright, so All Dragon, Proxis, and Toll Panzer, I made characters for you. Based on kind of what I remembered about what you wanted in the past. Took some best stabs at what you wanted. We'll look at your stuff. If you want to jump in and say, fix this. I'm recording this in the evening on October 15th. Let's say that this coming weekend I won't record anything for this series. But, I don't know, you know what? I can't promise that even. If you see this and you want to make a change, respond right away. Because I think I probably won't record anything this coming weekend. It's probably going to be like the weekend of the 25th is a Friday, 26th, 27th. I'll probably be like at the beginning, that weekend, sort of the last weekend of October is when I'll probably start recording to give you guys time. Because you've been, in theory, waiting 2 years for this, so I'll give you another week to get ready. But I'm going to run through the characters I've got, but there's 3 people I made characters for. There's 3 people I'm pretty sure wanted characters, but I can't. It's a combination of people using YouTube usernames and maybe a different name when you donated, and I can't figure out. There's 3 specifically: Bonneri, Fatal Alex, and Arthresh. I don't know. I can't make a character for you guys. All of you guys are people I've either seen in the comments enough over the years that your name stuck. I want to say Bonneri, I specifically remember having a character before. Fatal Alex too. I don't know. I don't know. But those are 3 people who I'm pretty sure I recognize those names as people who really would want characters, but I couldn't find characters to create for you. Ald, Proxis, and Toll Panzer didn't submit characters, but I knew for a fact how to find their characters from previous playthroughs, and I just kind of recreated them as best I could. And then there's someone whose username is Young Straight, like Y-O, like the word young, no space, S-T-R, and then the number 8. I can't remember if I know your name or not. And then I've got a couple of folks, Darnell Taylor, Richmond Dye, Leva, and Stephen Thomas SKS. I have no idea who that is. But these are people who I'm pretty sure just donated to help out and never intended to have characters. But Ald, Proxis, and Toll Panzer, you guys have characters that are probably not exactly what you want. And if you want to jump in, you can. Let me try to go through these guys real quick. But this is mainly a call out to Bonneri, Fatal Alex, and Arthresh. I want to make characters for you. I can't find... I've been through like 5 or 6 of my old videos where I had character creation for RTK and Nobunaga's Ambition, and maybe like the one video I didn't check is the one where all of your stuff is at, but I could not find characters to make for you. So Bonneri, Fatal Alex, and Arthresh, please drop something in the comments quickly. Let me know if you want a character and what you want. Even if you don't, so like, hey, I don't have time to make a character in detail, but make them really good at war and make their dump stat intelligence and give them whatever. Like, if you don't have time, I'll make one. I'm trying to do right by the people who donated, because I know this is much later coming than was intended. Anyway, let's quick go through the characters that I did make. We got JG Mystery. If there's anything wrong with him, it's my fault, but he's got an awesome portrait. And he's his beloved officers are his own family. The family will come together. Oh, hey, this is the thing I should explain real quick. And I really do intend this. It's not going to be an hour-long video, I hope. I did figure out what scenario we're going to do. If this changes anything for anybody, and it shouldn't, I hope. What I want to do, even though it's not one where they are, quote, recommended, I took a look at the events and stuff in the game, and I'm pretty sure we can give it a try. I think we can make it work. It'll be a shame if we don't. But I want to do an event-heavy playthrough as a clan where we can just go from the beginning to the end of one of the most famous warriors in Japanese history. And even if we have to save the game and keep a couple of saves and jump from one scenario to another, like we did with the Takeda, I think we should be able to get this to work. And that is playing through... It's Harukage Nagao.
Shouldering both name and clan, I will advance.
He's not really that big of a thing. I don't know that much about this guy. I'm not really that concerned with him. But it did appear that if we jump in here, this is the earliest possible scenario. Muskets arrive in Japan. Nobunaga's dead. We got Dosan Saito is in charge of the Saito clan. Toshimasa. I think that's the Viper, Dosan Saito. Or it might be his son. I think it's the Viper. Nobuhide, that's Nobunaga's dad, is in charge. Shingen. Oh. That is Shingen. So Shingen has kicked his dad out. He hasn't changed his name to Shingen, but Shingen's in charge, even in the earliest scenario.
Well then, shall we set off?
But I've been told, and if I was ever going to play as the Hojo, this would be the time to do it, a very early scenario before they've taken over the Kanto. It might be entertaining. But what I want to do is come up and play as the Nagao, because I want to go through the historical events that tell, because this is not a story I understand very well, but it is one of the bits and pieces that I know are very interesting. And he just seems like a fucking badass. I want to play through. We've done Shingen, the Tiger of Kai. We've played as the Date. We've played over here as the Shimazu. I'm making this longer than it should be. But what we're going to do is we're going to start out as the Nagao, but we're going to follow the historical events that lead to the rise of Kenshin Uesugi, Bishamonten himself, the Dragon of Echigo, the God of War. A guy who apparently died on a toilet. Shitting blood. But that's not the reason he's cool. Because he's really cool, and that's a terrible thing I should not have mentioned. So not one of the recommended forces here. It's kind of interesting, like... I'm looking forward to seeing if this game is fun, because I could see myself playing more than one scenario on it. But there's, like, I can't really think of another scenario where they want you to play as the Asakura, even though it's a high difficulty. And they would recommend you play as the Oda with a 2-star difficulty, or the Imago. But I want to play, and even though it's not a recommended scenario for here, this is the earliest starting point, and the events are there for you to play the Rise of Kenshin Uesugi. So let's get back to the edited officers. I'll try to run through them quick, so that you can see your officer and whether you have any anything that you want to change. But again, this is mostly a shout out to Bonneri, Fatal, Alex, and Arthresh to submit your characters. Also, Young Straight. And if Darnell Taylor, Richmond Dye, Leva, and Stephen Thomas, quote, SKS, end quote, want to get involved, they can. And all Proxis and Panzer can jump in as well. So Vulture Bobo is Bearded Warrior Man. He is progressive. He's got his stats and stuff. He's cool. He's cocky, he's bad, and he loves his family. He's a farmer man. Vulture Bean is domestic officer, as she always has been. Vulture Papa is sadly not with us. But I created him so that Bobo and I could have the same father. Vulture Bronco is a ninja. He be what ninjas be, he will not show up until more than 20 years into the scenario. And then his little brother BB, I gave him healing tactics and made him like an intelligence pole character, and he's supposed to be like a holy progressive whatever strategist type. Even though I have heard recent stories about him hitting other children in the head with toy buses, so I guess he could have gone with more of a brutal warrior. But he is remaining. I'm still thinking of him as being the little kid who just loves to be read to. Mr. Schultz, I created your character. I love your portrait. I'm hoping that's the portrait that you meant to get. He is a pirate. He's a Buddhist pirate. He is not very smart. So I think I understood correctly. Let me know if I made any mistakes here. But yeah, I did some of these characters quite a few days ago. He wanted to be friends with a specific son of Kenshin, because I think I did mention that I was really thinking about playing as the Uesugi. So it looks like he went that way. He wants to hate Shingen. He's not the only one who hates Shingen, but we'll get into that. Anna Takatatsu, I guess, and I'm blanking on your name, sorry, but the guy who used this portrait in the past. This was a character I was having fun with. They were role-playing in the comment section, but they kind of got busy and weren't able to keep it up. But she was a flaky little princess character. I remember her bothering Grimith, as they were both assigned to the horse factory islands of the southwest. Everyone knows about Japan's famous horse factory islands. But I think she's got a different thing now where she's like a merchant, and there's a lot of cute in-character stuff going on with the creation of this character. But she's not very good at leadership, but she's pretty good at just about everything else. So if there's anything that I got wrong in creating your character, take a pause and take a look and tell me. You're actually older than most of the characters, because I set almost everybody to be as young as possible at the beginning of the scenario. So most people who mentioned a specific age are older than the rest of the created characters. Lita's grandma returns. Like Lita, looks best from a distance. Lita's grandma is, as ever, a male character. I love Lita's grandma, by the way. This is one of my favorite running jokes. It's an edging Christian thing from like the frickin' like 90s wrestling. I don't even remember when I talked about Lita's grandma on my channel, but it was probably early days of the channel. Anyway, this is Ghost Coin Power, stolen from Zerfall, of course. But Lita's grandma is here to probably be used in combat quite a bit, just because of really over-the-top high combat stats. All Dragon, couldn't remember what your portrait looked like. I think in Nobunaga's Ambition, I think you had been Elmendretta the Avatar, so the portrait I remembered for All Dragon was an RTK portrait, so I just made you a person who's clearly an archer. I hope that's okay. Otherwise, you kind of gave me... I made you more rebellious than most. I don't know if I had a conscious reason for doing that, but you are progressive. That's for sure. I think I must have found some All Dragons somewhere, because those stats are very specific, so I probably found... Those are either Almendretta stats or All Dragon stats from some point. I gave you things like Marksman, Arrow of Wisdom, things that seem to have an archery theme, and Odum Balapacha, there you go. Nobody, for the most part, very few people have beloved officers and hated officers, unless you made a point of asking, and I didn't bother to make Ald like someone and not someone else. There was, actually, now that I think of it, somebody... One of the things that made it occur to me that Ald needed to be created was, Col Arison is not the one that I'm thinking of. Ms. Ryan Paradigm. They wanted to be friends with me, Vulture Bean, and Kenshin, probably. I don't know if that was a role-playing thing or just thinking that would make you more important in the game. It's probably not going to have any kind of effect, to be honest. Yeah, but it was actually Agman Marand who really made me notice, oh, All Dragon, Proxis, Nilok, and Toll Panzer, somehow all the people that Agman Marand wanted to be friends with didn't submit characters, but Agman Marand probably did realize that all of those were people with prior LPs. So you can kind of thank Agman Marand for the fact that I went ahead and I didn't even want to take the chance that you wouldn't see this video and that a month into the LP you'd notice it was going and be like, oh no! So I did create officers for that reason. Let me go back up to where I was. Walter Papa, Walter Barker, Mr. Schultz, Anna Takatatsu, Lita's grandma, all this here. Manako Arasato. Oh yeah, no, I remember that portrait for sure. This is one of those characters who's just really fucking good, because they just really went into building completely incapable of rebelling, just ultra loyal. One of the few characters who made a point of selecting Ikoshu, which I think is a way of saying Shinto, or is a sect of Shintoism. But she's got her stats, so if there's anything wrong with any of them, let me know. Kalanawari Sanada, I'm pretty sure actually made a character. Kalanawari Sanada, another one of those officers who's just really fucking good. Just picked a dump stat, so just don't use him for that, and he's fantastic. Some of the traits and stuff, it's a little bit harder to figure out what's useful in this game because we haven't played it. So, like, you know, nobody, like, a sphere of influence, like, Kalanawari Sanada was, like, out there building roads and infrastructure because there were specific skills for that, which made him amazingly useful. But he is here. He, to me, looks just kind of grubby. And he hates Ieyasu. And I think we even, yeah, he likes various people who hate Ieyasu. Although he likes Nobunaga. Nobunaga didn't hate Ieyasu, but he hates Ieyasu and he hates Naomasa Ali. So there's a role-playing thing going on there that the maker of that character generally doesn't bother to elucidate. Kenin Paradigm is here, another character who just picked a dump stat, and yeah, she will never be useful in building up facilities in Pole, but if you need somebody to go out there and like whoop the shit out of people. I don't know this game. I haven't played this game. I'm anticipating having some difficulty with this game, but like at some point, if it clicks and I start to figure out the game, I think we are going to be, as ever, kind of unstoppable because of all these souped up created officers, but that doesn't bother me as long as we're all having fun. I'm not necessarily here for a huge challenge, although the game can find ways to present you with challenge, even if you give yourself pretty good officers. Mino Ogre, Mino Night Dream, Mino. And likes me and Vulture Bean. Doesn't like Vulture Bobo. I guess she figures. I guess she figures if you can only pick two, we're good at pole, and she's going to need to know people who are good at pole, and it never hurts to suck up to the boss, even if you have decided that you are going to be a Christian. And Kenshin, very much not a Christian. Agumon Morand, he's, I say he picked it, dumps it. He's 90 in all these different things, so it's not like he's not better than the vast majority of the in-game officers at all the war stuff, even if he didn't pick 100 for everything. He is a progressive Christian samurai, and his tactic is Red Demons of Ri. So don't let Kalanawari Sanada know that you've got them Lee moves. He doesn't like that kind of thing. But his beloved officers are a bunch of people who he loves them so much he made sure that they were in this LP, even though none of these people had actually submitted characters. They all donated though. Proxis Nilok. This is one of those where take a look, Proxis. I went ahead and tried to make you as close as I could to prior character. Your rebellion was 0, even though you ditched us to join the Oda in the last series. And then I had to. This is one of my favorite little memories of that scenario. Was like coming up with a secret plan to delay returning this prisoner to our territory because we figured it out. There's a minimum number of days that you can be in a force before you're willing to betray them. So when she got captured by the Oda and defected, we went ahead and captured her back, and she wouldn't rejoin us. So I had all this headcanon going on, like making up shit and explaining it about how the prison caravan like stopped and they came up with some polite excuse to not get back to Shingen's castle. And Shingen actually approved all of this. It was Shingen's actual idea to give them a cooling off period so that they would have been convinced to return to the fold before they came to Shingen, because Shingen could not be seen to be refused for them to return, and blah, blah. Like, I had a lot of headcanon going about why we didn't execute Proxis Nilok. Now, if Grimith betrays us, he's going to get executed. Proxis, though, I mean, her whole character was that she was super loyal to the clan, and then, like, a weird twist of the game had her not coming back. Like, getting captured, switching sides, not coming back. But anyway, She's primarily, she's got super high leadership, but she's supposed to be, I think she was supposed to be a civil construction. Like, I was trying to pick skills similar to what you had in Sphere of Influence. So there you go. Toll Panzer is the last one who I was expecting to get a submission from, did not receive a submission from, but went ahead and made a character in detail based on prior. So Toll Panzer, let me know if you don't like the portrait. Let me know if you don't like anything else. I didn't give you a religion. Gave you the same. I had to kind of recreate your stats because I found an RTK one where there's 5 stats. So I kind of gave you the same dump stat and like had you landed about the same places as you would if there was no charisma. Gave you just warrior stuff because you wanted to be a warrior who was like not quite. Valor in RTK is strength. Like valor and strength are not exactly at the same. Nobunaga's ambition and RTK have little minor differences. Valor is one of them. But Valor translates more directly to war than anything else. So I gave you your war in RTK was not quite as high as your pole and your leader. So I did the same and gave you the intelligence score that was about the same. And so on and so forth. Oh, and I gave a bunch of people refined taste, which is like, I got tired of picking traits. And like refined taste is a trait that says, occasionally gets a treasure. So it's like, I don't know how often that'll work or even if it's useful, but like there's quite a few created officers who just have as a third and final trait because I was sick of thinking of traits. Every so often a treasure will just spontaneously appear in your hands. But there we are. That's Toll Panzer. Shaman C is an actual character who submitted, so everything here should be right, but take a look. Make sure I didn't get anything wrong. Pretty sure you did intend to have that sweet helmet, which is a bucket over your head. Wave of Despair. You're probably, I think you might be the oldest, unless Col Arison and I made a point of setting his age to older. And I don't remember if he did or not. So that's Shaman C. We got... This is an interesting one. The game did not like special characters, and it didn't like so we actually have less freedom to select long and complicated names than prior games. So we are now Fall Uncle Bulldozer, with no quotation marks, no spaces. Fall Uncle Bulldozer. He's a stern male. He is a Christian. Or, no, you're not Christian. You said you wanted to be neutral. Never mind. I'm gonna change you to neutral right now. Before the cock. What is it? Not strikes. What does the cock do? It calls 3 times. Uncle Baldo will. he only had one chance to say, "Ah, don't give me a religion," because like he was like he decided he's like, "Nah, don't give me a religion." In real life, Zerfall I think would probably be more likely to be Christian than Buddhist or Shinto, but I'm not gonna get into his religion because I don't know how much talking about it is relevant here. But he's got no religion. He's losing his religion. I know I've said too much. He's yeah, he loves his family. Jax Baldo and Zerfina Baldo. And I believe he may also have no, he didn't end up having yeah, sorry, Uncle Baldo, you don't have treasures that just spontaneously appear in your hands like some do. Lethal Feline, I made Haru Toriyama. If you have a problem with that, let me know, I guess. I just made him like, you're more rebellious than most. The rebelliousness goes from 0 to 20 in this game, so you're like halfway up the scale, and most people made a point of saying they didn't want to be rebellious. But I made you like kind of average ability to just say, fuck this. I'm going to work for somebody else. If you are a samurai, you're an infantry leader, you're progressive, you don't have any religion. You have roughly the same stats than before. There was something called tiger hunting in Sphere of Influence, which was super powerful. It doesn't exist in this game, so I guess it gave you Tiger of Ushu because it has the word tiger in it. But you do have refined taste, which means occasionally treasures just appear. And you and Grimith love each other. Isn't that nice? Jax Baldo, she has similar stats to prior games and the same portrait that she did. And she has Oath of the Dagger, which is a fun one. It means if you're married, And this only appears to be possible for wives to power up their husbands, but the husband's stats will be increased if his wife has this trait. This is Kicho's trait. Oath of the Dagger, being the promise Kicho made to her father that if Nobunaga proved to be a fool, she would murder him herself. However, I couldn't actually make Jax and Zerfall married, so I'm going to have to actually remember to marry them, whatever that might involve in the game. That may involve spending political capital of some kind. But whether or not they are married, they do have a child together. They really don't have religion. They're not following the Lord's teachings at all. But yeah, there you go. Jax Baldo. And Zerfina Baldo, who is... I set her... I don't remember the exact age. She's 2 years older than Vulture Bronco in the game. I think in real life, it's between 1 and 3, so I won't do. And she's got kind of the same stats from the last game, and I gave her Refined Taste. She just gets treasure. She has the most generic combat traits ever. One that gives her better offense, and one that gives her better defense. And then for the third, she just gets treasure sometimes. She's also the People's Champion, because I just noticed that skill and thought it was funny and decided that she was the Rock, because she was the one I was creating when I noticed that that skill exists. And she loves... Her dad is Uncle Baldo, but there's no way to assign who her mother is. So, there you go. And last but not least, Grimith Reaper. Didn't want to go all the way to 20 out of 20 rebelliousness, because I think that's just like... That's set aside for, like, historical villains of the, like, Hisahide Matsunaga level, who, like, betrayed their lords, like, 3 or 4 times in history. I think Grimith is more practical than that, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to betray everybody if I've landed at some place that's going pretty good. So Grimith, you know, you can jump in and make comments. You can even tell me not to put you in the damn game if you want, but I made you a priest. I made you a Buddhist priest, but the idea is that you're like kind of a, like, you know, a Buddhist priest from like an Eastern horror film where it's like, oh yeah, trappings of Buddhism, but really there's like something evil going on with demons and necromancy and shit like that. You got the same stats that you had in the last Nobunaga's Ambition game. I tried to make you a castle builder because that was the last time I remember you having... Cunning Fox was specifically your skill on a previous one. But yeah, like this, the last time I remember you actually going in detail on a character build, it was like this genius engineer who was also super finicky and difficult to work with. So I kind of recreated that, more or less, and you and Lethal Feline are living together and loving life and having wonderful stories about cockroaches and whatever else goes on. So that's it. That's 22 characters. That's it's kind of a lot, but not the most we've ever had in one of these series. And I'm going to go now. So again, Bonneri, Fatal, Alex, and Arthresh, you've got a little more than a week. Please submit your characters. I apologize. If I start without you, I can't really go back and do anything, so I'll just try to make good in some other way. But, yeah, now is the time to get in. All Dragon, Proxis, Nilok, Toll Panzer, if you want to jump in and make tweaks to your characters, do it quickly. Other people, I have Darnell, Taylor, Richmond Dye, Leva, and Stephen Thomas Tompkins. SKS, this mysterious person there. You guys can jump in and create characters, and anybody who I created a character for, but there's something that you want to change, you've got just a little bit of time, because I want to start going. Now, like, I don't know why I put this off for so long, but now that I'm getting ready to start it, I am pretty excited about it. So, let's get any corrections and new characters in, and, let's see if I can avoid derailing the historical events early and completely ruining a big part of what I'm looking forward to the campaign, which is not just conquering Japan, but actually going through the historical steps of the life of the Dragon of Echigo, Kenshin Uesugi. See you guys soon.